Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Morgan and today's video is going to be unlike anything I've ever created here on YouTube, but I've actually been on TikTok for about the last 2 years, sharing content around my vintage yearbook collection and the interesting and old-fashioned names I find in them. And from there, I've kind of spiraled that into being able to open up an entire baby naming consulting business, which is like, my mind is still blown that that's something I get to do. For today's video, I wanted to take a look at the top 10 most popular baby boy names in the United States and offer some alternatives to them. So if you like the name, but you also don't want to give your kid a top 10 name and have like 3 other little Liams in the class with them, this video could be for you. When I'm offering these suggestions, I'm going to be choosing names that are either phonetically similar or energetically similar. So it might not have any of the same sounds, but for me, they have that same energy. So the most popular baby name in 2021, which is the latest data we have, they haven't released 2022 yet, was Liam. And if you like Liam, I think you'll also like Leo, which is still a common name, but it is outside the top 25. So chances are your Leo will be the only one in their class most of the time. Or if you like Liam and Leo but want something even more obscure, there's the name Elio, and this one means sun. And Liam and Abram, for me, energetically similar. Second was the name Noah, and I came up with the idea of a Noel, Gnome, or Jonah, which I do think has some phonetic similarity, but definitely the energetic similarity. Oliver was one of the trickier ones on this list for me, but I came up with Oscar, Arthur, and Xavier, or some people pronounce this just Xavier. Elijah, I cheated on this one a little bit because my first suggestion is the name Elias, which is actually a derivative of the name Elijah. But if you like Elijah, but you just feel like it's maybe a little too popular or somebody in your circle has already used it, maybe Elias could be a good alternative. If you're looking for something more uncommon, there's the name Ezra, or even more out there is the name Evren, and this one is a Turkish name and it means the cosmos or universe. James was another one I found tricky on this list, but I am happy with the ones I came up with. So first is the name Jace. Phonetically, it's basically James without the M sound. And then Hayes and Shane. I also was going to include Jack, but then I got to thinking, it's like, I don't think the parents who like the name James are going to choose the name Jack, but I like them both. Looking to William, which is the number 6 most popular name in 2021, my first thought was the name Eliam. You don't hear that one very often. With William, you can get Will or Liam as a nickname. With Eliam, you can still get that Liam, or you can do Eli. My next thought was the name Wesley, and finally the name Elliot. With Benjamin, which was the number 7 most popular name, my first thought was the name Benedict, and I know this name's a little controversial, but I think because of the actor Benedict Cumberbatch, it's getting a little more normalcy, and people are finding more comfort with the name Benedict. And then 2 names that don't necessarily sound the same, but I think share the energy, are Reuben, which I just love. I've actually had a lot of inquiries about the nickname Rue, what names parents can use to get that nickname. I think Reuben's a great one for that. And I almost didn't include this one because it's also another popular name. It's number 19, but I had to because I love the suggestion, and that's Sebastian. Okay, with the name Lucas, I've got a few different options. I love the name Lucas, but very phonetically similar. I love the name Louis so much more. I think they're both sweet, wonderful options, but for me, Louis is so soft sounding and so sweet, and the nickname Louis, oh, I love it. I'm a Harry Potter fan, so I almost don't want to suggest this one, but Lucius, I can recognize that it's a wonderful name, even though if I could never use it because I couldn't get past the association to Lucius Malfoy. That's a good name. And finally, the name Luca. For some reason, this is a controversial name when I share on TikTok. It ends up on like a toxic side of the app where people are like, that sounds like a girl's name, as if that matters. I think it's a great gender neutral option, but it's a top 50 name right now for baby boys, and for some reason on TikTok this one just always gets people mad at me, even though it's a very legitimate boy's name. And then the name Henry, for some reason I love this one. It just seems like such a sweet, cozy boy's name, and my first suggestion with Henry is Holden. I think Holden has like the very same energy as Henry, but it's a lot less common, and I don't know, just another cozy sounding name to me. And then another, maybe more obvious option is the name Harry. This is another one I get a little bit of pushback on when I mentioned it on my TikTok, but I love the name Harry. I don't see anything wrong with it. Or you could even use the name Harris and call him Harry. And then finally the name Soren. I think this one is super cool, and I've actually gotten called out for like over suggesting it on TikTok, so I try not to mention it over there as much, but since this is my first YouTube video about names, I thought it deserved a spot here. And finally is the name Theodore, which in my area is wildly popular. There are so many little Theos running around. And if you want to use the name Theodore to call your son Theo, maybe you'll like the name Arlo. I think this one is super cool. It's growing in popularity, but it's still not a top 100 name. If you wanted to use the name Theodore and call him Teddy, what about the name Edward? I have a soft spot for this because that was my grandpa's name. But I think having a little Edward and calling him Teddy, or when my grandpa was young, he went by Eddie. I think that's so sweet. And then finally, the name Christopher. So with Christopher, people always think of Chris or Topher as a nickname, but I think the nickname Kit is so cute for a little boy. If you wanted to use that, I think for me, Theodore is like a nickname name. I've known quite a few babies named Theodore. None of them go by Theodore. It's either Theo or Teddy. So if you're looking for a cute nickname, Christopher with the nickname Kit, and then Christopher gives him more adult options as he grows up. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what you think of the names suggested. I know baby names can be a very polarizing topic, so I'd love to know your thoughts, and I'll be back next week with the girl version of this video. Bye!